Hello, my beautiful co-creators. Lilou here. I'm in Toronto, in Canada, with Jessica.
Hi, everybody. So glad to be here.
Oh my God, this is so cool to me. I know a lot of people are excited that we're together today. Especially what we put out this other video probably over a year ago, and it has created some synchronicities, and now we're sitting next to each other in Toronto. I'm really excited because you bring a lot of love to this world, and we're right now sitting in nature, and I would love enjoying the flowers, and I would love for you to share your journey, starting from the moment that you've lost your job. Like, we had the similar experience. Tell us about that.
Busting out of the 9 to 5, the daily grind kind of a thing, where it's just this kind of work that it could maybe be okay financially, but it just doesn't serve your soul right, and we just don't fit in because there's this part of us that hungers for so much more, and we don't quite know what it is, and we're a little scared by it, but we feel like we just have to trust it. We have to do this leap of faith, and that somehow it'll work, because it's not seeming to work for us in the 9 to 5. And I know a lot of people are dealing with this right now and really concerned, but they don't necessarily see, but we're going to help them see the gift in disguise and how this can be the best thing possible, imaginable. You know what I mean. Anyway, so what happened was, after leaving my job, I just felt I had this message within me that I had to share, and I was telling this to people at work, and they just didn't understand it, and I felt that somewhere somebody would understand it, and maybe it would help people who would not feel so alone with the same kind of thinking and feeling as me, and also inspired to find others who felt the same as well, and unite the dream and co-create this beautiful, help midwifery birth this heaven on earth kind of a thing. And so I just decided I was going to do it. I made my very first video called My Message to Humanity, which was so raw. Oh my goodness. And it was a combination of my poetry, and just I put it together in a really interesting kind of a way that just flowed and became my message. And
without being a technical person yourself.
No, I'm not technical at all, and when people watch my videos, it's very obvious. Even with our interview, where the audio wasn't very good, that was on my side. So I'm getting better. I'm learning Final Cut Pro, the best camera editing software.
Yeah. But yet you put yourself out there, you edited that video, and you put it online. And what happened then?
I didn't edit anything. It was extremely raw. All my mistakes and everything were there for people to see, so they could relate as well, right? And I think there's great perfection or imperfection as well.
Yeah.
And doing modeling, when there's always airbrushing and this obsession with perfection that really doesn't exist. So there's so much character and honesty to it. So that was the reason. And then what happened when not very many people saw it, and that's okay, because I wasn't going for ratings. I just felt so good.
Yeah.
It's done. It's off my chest. And so I just thought it was just that one video I was going to do, and that was it. But little did I know, the universe had other plans, right? And so anyway, when a person contacted me, and he said, I feel really inspired that you need to have a website. And I said, yeah, I've thought about that, but I really have no idea how to make a website, and I don't have the money to do that. And he said, I'd figure you'd say that, so I'm just going to make this for you and handle the financing. I'm like, okay, thank you, kind of a thing. And then the next person that saw it was a person who said, you know what, I feel really compelled that you need to come to Australia. I'll just pay for everything and you just show up. I want you to come to this conference, the Nexus conference, and I want you to see the guests and the people that are speaking, and I just feel that you need to attend. And it was like the Ringing Cedars of Russia editors, the Crystal Skulls, the Mitchell Hedge one, and Project Camelot.
So big heavy hitters.
Yeah, but I didn't really know who. I only knew the Ringing Cedars of Russia editors. I didn't know who Project Camelot was. I decided to do a little bit of research, and I watched some of the videos, and I'm like, I saw like David Wilcock, and I'm like, this is pretty interesting. This is perfect, actually. This is where I could really share. So I decided to go and take this offer to go to Australia, even though I don't know this person. And it doesn't really make sense to go and tell your mother, hey, I'm leaving for Australia with this person I don't even know, but they said they'll handle everything and it'll be fine, So not necessarily something every mother wants to hear. But in my heart, I just knew that I would be fine. The person was very respectful. There was nothing kind of that most people would would be concerned at that idea, right? And I ended up meeting Project Camelot, and I didn't really have an intention to be interviewed by them. I just kind of wanted to find out who all the guests were, kind of a thing, right? And I started talking to other people there, and everybody that heard me, they're like, you know what, you really need to talk to Project Camelot. They need to hear you. And I was a little nervous when I realized that they had interviewed a lot of people, and no one quite like me before, you know, a young female who doesn't have a background in like black ops or too much conspiracy and so forth. But it just ended up working, and that's how I ended up getting known and out there in the world. And that's how you found me as well. Mm-hmm.
And then, so how do you take that journey from there? Because that's like a lot of exposure all of a sudden. How do you take that? How do you handle that?
Yeah, that was a little overwhelming to have suddenly all these people all over the world emailing you and relating and pouring their heart out to you. It was so, so beautiful and such an honor. And all suddenly more interviews and offers started coming through, and traveling, and people were asking, do you have a donation button on your website? I said, no, I don't charge. I want people to know that this is, you know, a gift, and that there are, it was just important to be like nature and just give unconditionally. That's how I always felt. But people were like, you know, you need to be able to sustain yourself. You're not charging. Can you at least put up a donation button? And they kind of bugged me for a while because I was really hesitant about it. And I finally did. And like you, that's how I'm able to go around and do my work as well. And it's pretty incredible, again, how you just trust and how it just works for traveling.
Yes.
And just being invited to a stay with a soul family, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is really awesome. This is getting really juicy, I think, because it is your tell us how you are living your daily life, or how things are unfolding. Has it always continued to be this way, where you're trusting in just one thing? It really comes to you, it seems.
It does. It's you just have to just listen to that voice inside you. You know, your heart just always knows what you need to do. And even though it doesn't make any sense and it can be a little bit fearful, it's always so rewarding. I ended up going to visit a friend in California, and I bought my train ticket, and I didn't notice at the time until my friend pointed out, but it was for $111.11 on card 11, seat 11 at 11:11 a.m. Right? Yeah. And then when I went to meet my friend, and first thing I like to do when I go to people's places, look in their bookshelves, and here I saw all these books, and this one book that stood out was 11:11. I'm like, I think I'm supposed to read this, right? And so it just started to show me that I just need that 11:11 is almost like the white rabbit in Alice in Wonderland. That's how I kind of interpret it. That it's your guide speaking to you and confirming to you that you're on the right path, and continue to trust and listen to, you know, what you're thinking and feeling at that time while you saw these numbers. Mm-hmm. And I remember being on the bus and being with people who really, this one guy, he said he had no money and no job and no home, and he's on this epic bus trip. And he's going to California. And I said, but what are you going to do? Or how are you going to pay your bills? He's like, oh, I'll find a job along the way. And I said, but where are you going to sleep? He's like, oh, I'll sleep on the beach. But what are you going to eat? Oh, I'll eat oranges. I was just so impressed and so inspired, you know, that this person was just living off of trust of the universe as well. And then I remember the bus stopped at a very late at night at a seedy place, and they made us get off. I didn't want to get off. There was this people kept asking you for money. They were homeless, and they were, you know, hungry, and I've been homeless twice before, so I could relate. And I find that in being homeless, you in nothing you have everything, and it humbles you and puts a lot of things in perspective. So I kept giving my money away, and I was kind of getting annoyed with myself, because if I kept doing that, I wasn't going to be able to take care of myself or feed myself very soon. And so I said, no more, that's it. This is my last bit of money, $5, and that's all I have. I won't be able to eat. And then another gentleman comes up to me, and he says, do you like this necklace? He pulls out this kind of an amethyst necklace. And I said, well, it's nice, but it was very big, and I'm not really into big jewelry. So I said, you know, but honestly, it's not my thing. He said, well, I was hoping I could give it to you in exchange for some money so I could have some food. I'm really hungry. And I was like, here. I gave it to him. And he got his food and he came back and he sat down at the table and he said, by the way, are you a Pleiadian? And I was like, huh? Where did that come from? And he looked at me and was like, I'm sorry, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Archangel Uriel, your guardian angel. And you passed your test, basically. And you're going to be traveling a lot. And it's going to seem like you are not, you might be doing it with very little money, but in having nothing, you have everything. And when you just completely surrender and trust, it'll just work. And I want you to know that just always trust and it will work. And we're looking out for you and watching out for you, kind of a thing. And it was really incredible. Just thinking back to this, I don't think I've really shared this story on video before. And I remember just this love and this comfort and just beauty just kept beaming to me, and these eyes that revealed to me were just so much light. And he said, remember, I'm a mirror. I am a mirror. And so I always like to say, I'm a mirror reflection of yourself, of your own beauty. We are mirroring each other's divinity to each other all the time, and mirroring each other's potential all the time, and truth. And so what was I going to say?
Did you always felt that connected to this, the angels and the divine and all of it? Or as you started embarking on this journey and seeing some events and meeting some people, it got clearer?
It was definitely a gradual process as I started to have more and more different experiences, like when I went out to France and ended up missing my bus and missing my plane, and then going to the travel agency and explaining what happened. And I decided I was going to speak to their soul, who they really were, not the role that they were playing, kind of thing. This business, because that's not who we are. Mm-hmm. These business roles, we put on these clothes and we play that role perfectly, but that's not who we are. And so I just gave them unconditional love and light. I shared with them my story, and they gave me another ticket. Free. Yeah. Yeah, it was incredible. And then when I was going to speak in Spain, this would be, I think, my third time. And it was at around the time when the economy got really bad. So they were able to bring me out the first couple times, but the third time when what happened with the economy, they said, we can't do it this time. And so I wrote down in my blog, guys, I know you're looking forward to me coming out to Europe, but it's going to be canceled because of the finance situation. And someone read it and they said, you know what? You cannot not go to Europe. I'm a flight attendant. I can get you out there for $100 there and back. So I just wanted to share examples of how we are able to live and how everybody can do this. Yes. They just have to know. I look at life or even the universe as a job employer. That's my boss. Right?
I agree.
Yeah, and I look at myself, I look at all the experiences I had, good and bad, and I look at the things I love to do and my passion and my skills and what I think the world needs. And I approach the universe with what I feel I can offer. Because sometimes when you haven't finished school like me, and you can tend to feel really low on yourself and that you have nothing to offer. I've seen it so much. So one of the desires is just to be an example and show people that someone's opinion of you doesn't have to be your reality. If they say you're a loser, or if you're not smart, or if you're bad, or whatever kind of things, these black magic spells that we cast on people where they become that self-fulfilling prophecy and live it out until they realize that they don't have to take on that, role of what people are saying. They can create their own identity. They can create themselves, because so many people are looking to mystics to tell them, what is my mission? What is my purpose? What am I here to do? And even when I asked my guides, they said, well, what do you want to do? I said, no, that's not how it works. You're supposed to tell me. And they said, oh yeah, you're right. Sorry. Okay, Jess, you're supposed to be a firefighter. Go do it. I'm like, no. And they said, exactly. You cannot expect anybody, not even us, to tell you, because it's up to you to create it, to look at the world and don't look for a place to fit in, but create your own place and make it accommodable for other people as well to grow. And because, just in the time we didn't, say 100 years ago, we didn't have internet, right? And so it's hard for people to imagine that kind of out of the box kind of a thinking, or even to explain that would be very esoteric in that time, right? But I mean, we're creating new things constantly. Like, what are we going to have, say, 10 years from now? How is life going to be? And it's because of these pioneer freedom thinkers. And I'm looking at it right now, particularly with the youth. I think that they have a lot of intangible thoughts. They believe in impossible things, and a lot of the times they're put down and ridiculed, or like, this is your imagination, and you need to grow up and think of more logical, tangible thoughts, kind of a thing, right? And that's mainly what's focused on in school, and as we get older, is logical and tangible. And I really think that we need to merge these two. I think that's the problem, is that too much logical and tangible and not merging it with intangible the right way. Let me give you an example. As far as when we believed in impossible things, we were able to bring it about. The Wright brothers believed that it was possible to fly in a time that it was considered impossible. It didn't exist. It wasn't a reality at that time. Can you imagine the amount of ridicule they must have endured trying to, bring this dream about? And their dream was so strong that it manifested and became a reality. Not only that, other people were getting the same thing. I know that people in Germany were also, discovering flight around the same time. Just the Wright brothers beat to the punch. And that's kind of the way for all of amazing breakthrough technology came about, or inventions, through many different souls getting this inspiration, and whoever is able to believe in it and give it that much fuel. Because Einstein said imagination is more important than knowledge, right? Because he knew that it was the bridge to our infinite potential, which is our birthright. Because we are infinite potential, then the way we're living right now is such an insult compared to how we can be living. And that really motivates me and inspires me. Or even Einstein is a great example of tangible and intangible working harmoniously to revolutionize our world. As far as intangible thought, what is it like to ride on a beam of light, he thought one day. Tangible, math and physics. Put those two together, what do you have? The theory of relativity. Right? And I mean, a lot of people have a whole bunch of, there's conspiracy behind Einstein, but I'm looking at this as stepping stones to understand a greater truth, and how the more we give merit and explore these infinite possibilities, and don't be afraid to think really out there, like time travel, because I don't know if you are aware, I did an interview with a guy who did physically teleport to Mars and the past, the Battle of Gettysburg, and it was on 2013 and 2040. His name is Andrew Basciago.
Yeah, I met him.
And he was interviewed on Coast to Coast after that interview. Nobody would interview him before I met him, kind of a thing. So I was really happy that my little video, as raw as it was, because we were eating, we were just being really, carefree during the time. I wasn't even sure I was going to even put it up on YouTube. It was just last minute that I decided to. And, I didn't even need to interview him. You just say one thing and he just can interview himself for hours. I mean, that's a 6-hour-long interview I did, and there was thunder and lightning, and that wanted to participate in the interview because that was really exciting. And then I remember the sky was a beautiful purple, and there was always noise in the background. An ambulance was going by, and a lot of people were like, well, it's very raw, but at the same time, the message, I let him speak as long as he wanted. Because I find that doing interviews myself, it's really difficult. You get overwhelmed thinking, I only have an hour to say things. What's important? What do I need to say? You kind of become all over the place and scattered. So when you get a chance to relax and know that it's very easygoing, playful, and don't worry about time, kind of a thing. So it turned out really beautiful, and I'm really happy for him. But again, the reason I put it out there, whether people agree with it or not, these were government projects, and this is a reality, and it's been going on for a long time, and it's time people realized it, and that they are this technology. See, the interesting thing about technology to me is it's training wheels for what we can do on our own, but people don't believe in themselves. So they believe in technology, they believe in crystals, they believe in others, and we never give ourselves that credit and merit. So
It's still outside of us.
yeah, that's right. It's still outside of us. But I mean but because of these training wheels, people are starting to, mystical abilities are starting to become more understood on a scientific level. For example, I think I shared this in Project Camelot, just the CT scan, that a lot of mystics can look inside the body and know what's going on, right? But and then the cell phone, that's just telepathy, the internet, neuronetting, the interconnected of one and many minds. It's really, really beautiful to watch as people are opening up like never before because of these stepping stones. You are united through the internet because of what people have been able to create and manifest. We get to have this kind of reality that we're living right now, like God's dream of exploring creation and all the things, all the possibilities, all the cultures in the world, all the scenarios. You know, that's why I feel that these souls that are coming to the planet that are really young right now, they're so in tune and so aware. I'm sure you've met them, you've seen when you speak to them that they know who they are, what they came to this planet to do, and they have such wisdom. And I think it has to do with their the collective understanding of the soul through millions of incarnations and learning what works and what doesn't work. That, I mean, we are the pioneers that made it possible for these souls to come to the planet in the first place.
Do you think we're pioneering something right now,
Yeah.
at this point in history?
Absolutely. This is something really, really exciting. It's a most exciting time to be alive. And I really feel that all the other lives we've ever lived has prepared us for this lifetime, in which we realize we are living every single lifetime in this life. Yes, because we're becoming more multidimensional than ever before. And we're starting to understand how we can be like clouds, so many different facets and aspects of us acting out within us as far as experiencing our, how do I explain this? It's really complex now.
It's getting juicy. Bring it on.
I'm glad. Exploring our shamanic, our quantum understanding of self, and how, when we were talking about me and you paralleling each other or mirroring each other, and how many other people are, you know, having the same thing or realizing this as well at this time. That, I mean, I see myself in everyone and everything. I see myself in you. I see myself in this flower, in this little bumblebee that's going around that I love so much. And it's just to watch yourself in all these different facets and forms, and to even have people starting to have memories of not just past lives, but future lives, multi-dimensional lives, interdimensional lives, lives in between lives, even lives as, I have a memory of a life as a fridge in the 70s. Because inorganic, inorganic objects has consciousness in it. Everything is made up of consciousness. So we have lives of these things as well. Everything, just to experience. What does it mean to be this? And it's almost like an actor, as you develop your craft. How much do we appreciate and enjoy actors who play the same role over and over again? And what is their growth like? As actors are challenged to play as many different roles as possible, to learn the human condition, right? And to know what it means to be human, so this is the thing that I have with people and their idea of karma, and thinking about punishment or because something they've done in their past life that they don't remember, or even a good thing, a reward because of something they've done in their past life that they don't remember. I think it's not about that. I think it's more just about, if I've experienced, say, being mean to someone before this life, and now I'm in this life and they're being mean to me, that's okay, because it's not my punishment. It's just about me being in the other person's shoes now, and knowing what it means to see yourself in all these different scenarios and situations. You can relate. The hero plays the villain and the villain plays the hero, and they switch. And so how can you judge after a while? You start to recognize, and oh my goodness, I've done this so many times, and we've played these roles out, and we're all actors. Like Shakespeare said, all the world's a stage.
Yeah, it's time to forgive and have a bit more compassion towards others too, because we all go through these. I mean, judgment is easy.
People who are nasty in our life, I find they're just in pain.
Yeah.
Physically and mentally, emotionally, and they lash out, and it's but you know what, they're also trying to tell us something about ourselves as well, because life is all about growth and exploration and being the best you can be, and doing whatever possible alchemical thing that needs to be done. Because if humanity is conditioned to believe they're nothing more than a worthless piece of coal under extreme heat and pressure, which could be considered the Illuminati or anything that causes discord, what happens to that piece of coal under that extreme heat and pressure, Lilou? It becomes a diamond. We're becoming a diamond, or crystalline, where our cells, our DNA is actually changing and starting to look and become a crystal.
Yes.
Yeah, and I mean, these are labels: indigo, crystal, starseed, but they're also tools and stepping stones. One of the things that has started to concern me in the work that I do is I feel like I'm on a pedestal because people think I'm different than them, and I'm not. We're the same. I mean, you don't have any labels, but I would call you a light worker, but I say also we are all indigo, crystal, and starseed, and we have these tendencies to lean more on depending on our day and what we're going through at that time. But eventually, when you start to see yourself in everyone and everything, it humbles you. You just can't judge anymore. They're just pieces of you. And you just start to fall in love with the beauty and the intelligence behind it, and the creativity and the joy that it can be if you just don't take things so seriously and get lost to the drama, right?
How would you just, without I know we're going a little bit in the labeling, but can you just remind us, crystal, indigo, light worker, what is it?
Okay, well, a lot of people tend to think that indigo and crystal have to do with children being born at a certain time. I think time is non-linear, and past, present, and future all existing at the same time simultaneously. So I think that time has nothing to do with this. I think it has to do with a journey of consciousness and understanding. So in indigo are people who have they're the system busters. They're the ones who are in gangs. They are the ones who are angry at themselves and angry at the system. And we all kind of start a little angry and frustrated, trying to make sense of this backwards Alice in Wonderland world, that's so upside down that in order to make sense of it, you just have to stand on your head and just do the opposite of what the world's saying, right? So that's the indigo kind of an energy, but it gets transmuted when you start to, again, like I said, see yourself in everyone and everything and start to fall in love with life. That everything starts to become very transparent, crystalline, and your chakras start to balance and become like a rainbow when the crystal reflects. There's rainbows everywhere, right? And we all have those times where we just fall in such love and such joy, and everything is speaking to us, and it's natural, particularly when your mind is silent, but you can hear the flowers. You can hear the messages of the bees. I find when I'm quiet, that's when the animals come and listen to eavesdrop off of my silence, because they know that's now you're connecting with God, right? Now, you're being welcomed back to the kingdom of God, like animals tend to do when they see you and approach you without caution, no fear, just like in those fairy tale stories, right?
So as we're raising our vibration, this allows more communication with the unseen. This is not really how we were raised. We used to see them as kids.
Yeah, it's almost like a circle, hey? Where when we were born, we knew exactly who we are and what we came to this planet to do. And then the conditioned programming gets, set in, and people tell us you can't do this, and you need to be normal and grow up, and this is your imagination. And I think that really devastates us and traumatizes us to a point that we end up getting amnesia. And we go about this world going, who am I? Where am I? What's going on? Who are you? And I call it the original heartbreak, because you're cut from your divinity, or you think you are. They're always there. They never leave you. They're just waiting for the chance. Or like I hear them planning in the dream realm, or even just meeting people like you, even before you even interviewed each other. We were meeting in the dream realm, planning to meet each other in the physical. And we're like, well, what would be the funnest way to do this? Let's create synchronicities and 1111 and just, make it to get their attention right away out of this matrix and this rut that they're finding themselves in, and have, many people all over the world feel compelled and connected to find their family, and just recognize by just that feeling, hey, how long have we done this kind of a thing.
I find that quite cool that we both have short hair now.
Yeah, that's the other.
And you're wearing the little flowers from Hawaii. I just came back from 6 weeks in Hawaii.
Yeah. The plumeria flowers are my favorite. They're also they smell so amazing. They're a gift from my boyfriend's mother, who went to Bali, and they mean a lot to me. And in all my videos, I always had little flowers in my hair, so I was so happy to have these flowers again. And I think every girl should wear flowers in their hair.
I agree.
real ones if you can, but if not, that's okay. Fake, we understand, because sometimes it's just hard to keep them pristine for long periods of time. And yeah, we both cut our hair around the same time as well for the exact same reason. And you were going to wear a green dress in this interview, and we would have looked like twins.
No, yeah, kind of. At least two goddesses in the middle of the forest.
Yeah, that's right. Just like Anastasia.
Yes, tell us about Anastasia, because I know you're a big fan, huh?
That's what I'm wearing around my neck. That's the ringing cedars of Russia. And, you know, it represents, it's really about a girl that is found in the Taiga, Russia, in the wild, living almost, you would think, well, she doesn't have any shelter. She doesn't use a fire. She doesn't have any objects or things that we would, a knife even for that matter. And she is very, very in tune. Oh, look at that beautiful little bird. He's listening to our conversation. He's all excited. So
Anastasia, and where she lives, how she lives.
yeah, so she has these incredible abilities and understanding of the human journey, even though she hasn't really gone out too much or read any books. She's able to travel to all the different time periods and has such a pure understanding of it, and she lives well as the animals tend to take care of her every need, kind of a thing, like fairy tale princess again. And the reason why I think that fairy tale princess is so interesting to me is that I think that is our most accurate piece of history that we have, and the reason it's been kept pristine is because people don't believe it anymore, right? Because most all of our history has been tampered with. But this is our birthright, that everybody is really princes and princesses. And we're really living like a Cinderella, or, you know, Prince and the Pauper kind of a thing, or even Robin Hood, where the fake prince is here kind of a thing.
Peter Pan!
Well, Peter Pan. Every single one of those stories, we're living simultaneously. Beauty and the Beast, locked within the enchanted castle within ourselves with this beast, you know, and the only way to break the spell is to love. You know, that's really, really beautiful.
But a lot of those have been by Disney, you know, have been changed, and that's one of the videos that I will be doing actually with Dr. Helen Hunter over in Boston, because a lot of those stories from Disney have been changed. Because for example, the princess, the frog kept on coming, but she was so fed up by the frog that she actually took that frog and threw it against the wall and said enough, and then the frog turned into a prince.
Yeah, they're slightly askew. I like to look more at the original, but at the same time, the messages are universal, and what they're saying to us on the subconscious level, and how they're helping us remember who we really are, and also take back our power, because it does say that, you know, one that possesses the heart of a child may enter the kingdom of God, and that only one a child will lead the way as well. Back to Anastasia, I kind of strayed away. So she
Sorry, we got planes and all kind of things flying.
Yeah, it's funny how that is. Good thing we have a mic right here so I can talk as loud as I can. So anyway, when people meet her, they tend to say, or hear about her, they say, well, she's an angel. She's an alien. She's a goddess. And I love her response. She says, no, I'm human. I'm how you guys were supposed to be had you not lost your connection to nature. So again, she's saying all these incredible things that she's doing is her birthright. And Jesus said the same thing. You know, all these things I do, you will do that and greater. And I think that's really important for us to explore. And these books are written in such a pure, beautiful way. The journey of the author who meets her and his transformation into a more gentle, loving being, and how he ends up seeing the world afterwards, and his synchronicities and parallels that just inspires and opens the heart of people. What's so neat about these books as well is I don't know any books that after reading them, people feel like they need to quit their job, take a garden, write beautiful poetry, draw and paint suddenly, you know, all these shamanic qualities, because I call it shamanic qualities because they have to do this inner journey to bring what is inside and outside to help people, hints of the dream kind of a thing, to awaken people, because waking life is a dream as well.
So do you meet her sometimes in your dreams?
I worked really closely, actually, with her. I wrote poetry, psychic poetry, before I even came across the books. I realized that my message and my poetry, actually, when I read the books, and I realized that some of the stories were so similar. And so I was like, okay, so this is where it's coming from. And this is what I also like so much about her work is she shares how when people read it, it's so out of their grasp what they think is possible, and it's just too out there for them until they try it out for themselves. And then they experience just, firsthand just how effective it is. Even just things about putting the seeds under your tongue. Did you come up
Chewing them? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what they did in Sedona, actually. Yeah, they actually did that in Sedona, at the chocolate tree, and you should try their food. It is amazing. In Sedona, it's a vegan.
Sedona 3 times. That's where I was interviewed by Project Camelot, and that's where I met the Hopi. Did you meet the Hopi out there?
Yes.
Wonderful.
We're going in this parallel journey, remember? Yeah, they did this, and they really, the lady there is considered as a North America Anastasia. She's really in tune and loving being, and a lot of green and vegan, and the food there that they grow on the rocks in the desert, in Sedona, is the most vibrant food I've ever tried.
With the love and just putting it underneath their tongue and letting the seed, program within it, your saliva and that all your DNA and information about your body and what your body needs and what it's struggling with as well. And then when you plant it, you'll see that seed will grow in accordance for just your body specifically. A family did this, and their cucumbers, each one of them was the father had a square in the center, the mother had a circle, and the daughter had a triangle.
That is wild. And these are things that are so far out for a lot of people, and as you said, I love when you said, until you try it out. So it really takes an open mind, and not everybody has to agree with everything that is being said here, and it's not about agreeing, it's not about any more right or wrong. It's about trying out a different way, starting to open our minds and hearts, and why not? How about if one day I'll just allow myself to do a little something a bit different, a bit out there, and bring a bit of the magic in.
I have quite an interesting story of another way I kind of realized about this. I won't share the cruise story because most people know that one. I've shared it so many times, and if you're interested, you can look at on my videos. You'll be able to find it, no problem. I want to look at the camera too, and you and back and forth.
This is perfect. We're all in this.
I like the color too around us.
Yes.
I just came back from working on the cruise ship. This is afterwards, and my mother had this roommate who turned out to be an ex-con and started threatening them, and my mother got really afraid, and she asked me to do something, and I said, okay, I know just what I need to do. And I didn't know, but a part of me knew, if that makes sense. Yeah. And so I just, I called his face to my mind's eye, and I jumped into his eyes, and I spoke to his soul, and I say, you're playing a role, this is not who you really are, and you are lost to it. And I downloaded him with unconditional love and light. And the next day my mother was like, Jess, what did you do? And I said, why, Mom? She said, well, he's like a pussycat. He's completely forgot why he's angry. And I was kind of, taken aback by this. Did I do that? And I started to share it with some of my friends, and I told this one friend that lives in the States, and he kind of laughed at me, and he said, Jess, you can't expect somebody to be holding a gun to your face to just, look in their eyes and, say, what you said, and give them love and light and expect everything to be hunky-dory. And I said, well, that was my experience, and I just wanted to share, I'm sorry if it upset you. And anyway, I didn't hear back from him until 2 months later. He called me up, he's like, you won't believe what happened. I was held at gunpoint. Yeah. And he said, and I wasn't afraid. I remembered exactly what you said. And I did just that. And he said, you know what happened? He shook his head as if he didn't know what had come over him. As if he was under a spell. And he saw the gun in his hand. He was a little shocked by this. And he put it down, and he's like, I'm so sorry. And he walked away. And so I find, again, this comes back to us playing our roles and us being lost to it. If you're only told you're bad, that's the only idea you ever have. And then you live this out. So when parents are really frustrated because they're trying to focus on their work and the kids are making noise, they tend to go, oh, quiet, you're bad, go to your room. And the kid, gets this idea, well, okay, that's what I am, so I need to act this out. And then they end up going to juvie and then jail. And the mentality in jail is, you think you're bad, you think you're tough? Come on, let's see what you got. And so it becomes amplified and way more intense when they leave. And I think this is also what Jesus understood when he said, forgive them, for they do not know what they do. He meant they're playing a role. And Buddha understood that too. That's how he was able to transform that serial killer who came to visit him one day while he was under the Bodhi tree. And he looked at him as a true divine being, soul, and he was so surprised that this Buddha didn't have any fear of him. Everybody feared him. I mean, he had a necklace of severed fingers of his victims, and Buddha just still looked at him like this divine being, and he was transformed in that moment, and he studied under the Buddha after that. And this works also with darker entities, because the truth is, none of us are born like dark or evil or a jerk. It's a journey that happens that makes us jaded and cynical. And if you do something like, the story, The Ghost of the Christmas Past, where Scrooge gets taken and shown, hey, you weren't always a jerk, here's the process and here's how it happened, and then he becomes transformed. You can do the same thing with darker entities and show them that, you're just this light being, and you forgot. And you got locked into all these labels when people, experienced you and didn't understand and freaked out and just a demon or whatever kind of a thing, and you played that role. There was something else I wanted to say.
We're discovering this too as we're playing along. I feel like it's not like, and I really want to point this out because I know a lot of people look up to you and put you on a pedestal, and you're brilliant. You're loving, your love, your wisdom, and all of that, but you're experiencing life. You're allowing yourself to live this, and more wisdom, more love is pouring from you, and the more you see, and it's a journey. It's not like, oh, I'm born like this, and that's it.
It's extremely important for people to know that. I mean, we are still a human, and that's the beautiful thing. It's not the thing with a lot of people who are into spirituality and this idea of ascension. They tend to think that the physical body is really like insignificant, and we're just going to shed it kind of a thing, and we're just going to go up as spirits and everything will be wonderful. But I think that the spirit is absolutely in love with the physical form. That's why we keep coming back into physical bodies. I think that the spirit is looking for a way to bring the physical body with it. And that's why we are starting to experience, and we will experience, bilocation, where we are able to, spirit will be able to take the body on these journeys and will become more lighter. And what's so interesting about that is in the past, like Paramahansa Yogananda, people were able to fly or be able to levitate very easy. Do you know how that was possible? It was because they were light at heart. Light at heart and like a child again. Remember the patterns? The child will lead the way, the inner child, and also our children of this, are the future, and very, very conscious and teaching us unconditional love and wisdom that is not taught by any schools, and they have that credit and that merit. And that is why the Mayans would weigh the heart to see if it was lighter than a feather, because I'm sure you've heard that a heart is a heavy burden. But if you could go through life and keep your heart light and playful and not let yourself become jaded and cynical, then that is where your abilities would be, because you would be able to be, a lot of times people are dense. They're really heavy physically and dense mentally, thick-headed, right? But people who hold that light, they are actually physically light as well. And everything has that, a lot of words that have to do with very wise, brilliant, intelligent. All of this has to do with light again, right? So the intelligence of light fusing within us. So I want people to understand that the more we are light at heart, the more we are playful and in touch with our inner child, climbing trees, conversing with trees, because they used to be our best friends and we played with them so much, and they're waiting for us to come play with them again and converse with them. And we will probably be experiencing that again of what they knew at that time, or even just how people were able to live till 900 years of age. That's how old Methuselah lived. And I know that we are meant to live that old as well, and older.
So really, let's play. I mean, it comes down to this. Let's start to play.
I guess that's the essence of the message today. Let's just play. Let's see what we can do. Let's play with our potential. And I know that we're here to birth heaven on earth. I know that we are here to heal the planet. I know that it will happen, and it is a reality. A lot of people tend to look at the world and they get very overwhelmed and frustrated, and they just don't know where to start, and they feel that Earth is a lost cause. All they hear about is the problems, and it's getting worse rather than getting better. But that's the brainwashing through media that's controlling it. In actuality, we have people we hear it all the time of people who have horrible illnesses and they're on their deathbed and they turn it around. We know that, the body is a micro version of the planet. And it's no different. If we can turn a dying body around, we can certainly turn the planet around, but it's going to need help. The cells and the organs all have to function together, and that is the people. The cells are the individuals, and the organs are the collective, right? Functioning and flowing, and not, cancer is, when one cell doesn't recognize another cell's on the same team, and so they fight. Right? So, then that's what's happening with America and Iraq. They don't realize they're on the same team, and so they fight, that they're all pieces of each other. That, science says that now we're all 30th cousins. So we're all relatives. So it's time we started acting like it. I think that's what Einstein meant by him saying, it's all relative. We're all relatives.
Yes, and last piece that I would like to speak with you, because I just did an interview with Karen Calabres on the raw food over in Chicago, and I know you eat special foods, or very their foods, here foods, a lot of fruits, a lot of vegetables, a lot of seeds. Huh?
I am a raw foodist, and I highly recommend it. You only need 4 hours of sleep. You have tons of energy. Your intuition is heightened. You don't stink when you sweat. You're really, really healthy. And I watch people that are able to recover from horrible illnesses and complications just by going raw. And I have a friend who really inspired me to do this, and he did, the movie Super Size Me? He did his own version with raw food, where he went to a blood analyst. And
be interviewing him.
Yes, actually, I can arrange that if you like. And he's incredible. He's, I think he's 40, but his body is 20. And wow. Anyway, he went to a blood analysis, and he had them look at his blood. And he had a video camera, and he just says, I just want you to confirm to me that my blood is really healthy. And he said, your blood looks like you're a teenager. You're really, really healthy. He said, what are you doing? And he said, I'll tell you later. He goes, I want you to confirm this to me on video. And then after that, he decided for 4 days to eat vegan cooked food. Straight. Nothing but cooked food after being a raw foodist all that time. And then he went back to the blood analysis, and he said, now look at it. And it was also, he was also a naturopath too. I'm horrible with detail. Sorry,
we'll go and check the details
stuff as well. They might have been different shapes, but still, they each had their own individual shape. But anyway, the blood analysis freaked out, and he said, "Oh my goodness, what did you do?" He said, "It's almost this is horrible. You're so unhealthy," and he did such damage to his body, which is 4 days of eating cooked food, vegan. And so it took him a long time to recover and get it back together again. But he met people who are 110, and they eat raw food, and they look very young and youthful, and they still have tons of energy, and their brain is really sharp. A lot of fruitarians as well. Yeah, it's incredible.
And you do some Bikram yoga?
I do Bikram yoga. I absolutely am falling in love with it. I love that watching people who have been maybe mangled in car accidents end up recovering very, very fast, and getting in touch with their body in a way they may not have before, and how it works you mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and even the organs of your body get worked as you're sweating out all those toxins. I highly recommend it for anyone who has any kind of arthritis, headaches, whatever. You'll just see improvements right away. I love interviewing people who go to Bikram yoga afterwards and asking them what started them on it, how they feel after just a few days and so forth. And it's just amazing how dramatic it is. So
and I want to point out though something here, because there is we all have a different body, and it's also about listening to where we're at. It's not because that's where you're at that the person is really ready for that radical change, and there is a process also to go through, and that's what would feel right for us. It's not, this is not your recommendation. We're sharing your life.
Yeah, and if people want to try it, just a little at a time. Don't go 100% raw and do like Bikram yoga intensely. I know that a lot of people have qualms with being a raw foodist, as far as it's hard to be full. Because you're eating salads, right? But if you have hemp protein and hemp seeds, then you're full. Or you make nut patties and things like that. We call them neat balls, not meatballs, but neat balls. And yeah, all of our bodies are different. But even if you decide just to try raw food just for 2 months, or Bikram yoga just for 2 months, and see for yourself because I love how with Bikram yoga, how my body just naturally knew what to do, and I don't really exercise. I don't like gyms. It feels like I'm in a hamster wheel kind of a thing. I'm not going anywhere. It's a mute mark. Everyone's just looking at each other kind of a thing. My body didn't feel like this was really, right in a sense. The breathing or all these different things, the movement of the body. But when I did Bikram yoga, everything I just feel that the body knows more than we do. I feel like even just with our hairs, for example, on our body, it's there for a reason. I feel like nature knows more than our concept of beauty does. That the hairs on our body is antennas, actually. Remember the biblical story about Moses, how he was able to be really strong? What was his secret? Long hair, right? Even though we're saying this even though we cut our hair, but which is funny. But this is also why the military shaves people's heads, right? Because they're easier to control. So just a little interesting side thing. You can keep that in.
Interesting thoughts, interesting conversation, juicy. I'm so grateful for this, and I look forward to seeing you again all around the world, because I know our path is not crossing, it's in parallel. And thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for your love and your passion, and you're so passionate. You're so passionate as a kid, as a child is, and this is so inspiring. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Thank you so much. I'm so glad I got to do this, and it just felt so therapeutic. No, I don't know if that's the right word. How do I describe this?
Healing. Natural.
Very, very natural and free-flowing and gentle, so that we could bring out each other's gems. Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, we send you much love from amazing Toronto.
Take care, everyone. Thank you so much for listening.
And please share this video with the world. Bye.